in this huge room and so many people, I feel very much at home. I'm with you. You're my people, teachers or ex-teachers. And thank you for that lovely introduction. It was short and ego-nourishing. I was once asked by a high school student who was to introduce me to a very large audience what he should say about me. Oh, I replied, you don't have to say much. Keep it short. He took me at my word. This is how he introduced me. Belle Kaufman. The less said about her, the better. You're laughing. That's a good sound. I'm going to quote my favorite author, my grandfather, whose pen name was Shalom Aleichem, and whose Tevye the Milkman stories were made into the very popular Fiddler on the Roof. He said, I thank you for him. He said, you may as well laugh, even if you don't see the joke. Laugh on credit. You may see the joke later, and if not, you're that much to the good. Now, I think most of you have read Up the Down Staircase. It's all about us teachers, and it was published about half a century ago. I am very old, but not really. I have lived 100 years and 6 months. Are you applauding longevity? In the last few years, the population of old people has exploded. I see I'm one of 49 at this age that was read to you earlier. Well, you think Up the Down Staircase was a funny book. You laughed, you chuckled, didn't you? Actually, it's a very sad book. What am I describing? I'm describing the terrible conditions in New York City high schools. I'm describing total lack of communication between administration and teachers, teachers and students. I'm describing loneliness, a need to be recognized, poverty, drugs. But it's a funny book. Why? I made it funny. That was Shalom Aleichem's genius. He described disaster through humor. He describes a man blind on one eye, myopic on the other, too poor to buy eyeglasses, who wears only the frames without any lenses. When he's asked why, he says, it's better than nothing. Indeed, that's a very good philosophy to know. I have lived through so many changes in the school system. I have lived through so many attempts to improve it, so many methods. They were all failures, most of them were. I discovered what's important to you students. There was a boy in one of my classes who was flunking everything except science. He didn't flunk science. It was the last day of school. We were all dismissed until the spring term. He was going to drop out. I said, before you drop out, come with me. I lived a few blocks away from school. I took him to my home. He stood in the doorway, refused the Coke. I went to my bookshelf, took down a book. It was Paul de Queef, Microbe Hunters, which is a series of short bios of famous scientists. I gave him the book. I said, read it over the summer. Maybe you'll decide to stay at school. He took the book and bolted. Fast forward, first day of school. He's back. Oh, I said, I'm so glad you decided to return. It was the book you gave me, he said. Oh, it inspired you? He said, no, I never read it. But you took me to your house and you gave me your own hard